When you guys would do production meetings at WWE, how much of that was because you hear production meeting and you assume it's going to be a very technical discussion of uh, maybe where stuff is going to be shot for the backstage stuff, and how much of it was technical and how much of it was story related? Was the production meeting
The
entirely technical?
I was never. I don't think I've ever been in what they call the actual production meeting. I don't
On the
think I
day
was.
of the day of the show? No.
I was always. Then they would break from the production meeting because that's where they do the nuts and bolts of what they were going to shoot, and then Vince or whoever would come down, if it was Paul, Stephanie, would come down and we would go. That was the first time in my life when I came back with the NWO angle where I was like, we never rehearsed anything with, at WCW. It was just, there were so many times at WCW where we have a main event, a 6-man main event, and we'd go to the fucking ring. Uh, like somebody's music would start and they'd have to leave, and we'd basically call it out there,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So
So you never had to go to the meetings where like camera stuff was this like take for example when you had the thing out in the lot with Ray and you threw him into the trailer and everything like that, doesn't that all have to be worked out because you need the cameras outside, you need the no.
we just kind of walked through that because we were there early, and it was of course it was that was far enough away from the crowd where it couldn't be seen. Um, but the thing we wanted to make sure was like there's nothing worse than like using an aluminum baseball bat, a pipe, and pulling it. So we always, it was always my philosophy is always you can never do anything in a work that's going to top what somebody's mind is going to assumed happened if they come into the shot and you're dropping the bat
Mm-hmm.
and the person's bent over and they're holding their head and it's bleeding, or Ray was the only real action in that. Ray came across, I caught him and lawn darted him. That was the only real action. I think maybe Scott hit maybe Riggs or one other guy, but it was like everybody, like they came running into it like cops, and the carnage was already there.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's just like, to me, it's Hitchcock. It's Psycho. You
But
know,
you
he
guys decide those things there
Yeah, because
with
and I,
Eric.
yeah, like I
Okay.
remember one time when I was working with the show, and Goldberg was going to get to Sid, and I think it was before Halloween Havoc. I think they worked, and Sid had never gotten color. So I'm like, oh fuck, and we had to get the way we were going to get out of it was he was going to get color, and then Bill was going to fucking bust him open, and we were going to stop the match because of the bleeding, and give Bill the win basically on like a TKO instead of a pinfall.
Mm.
And so I said, "Fuck!" I said, "I'm trying to think what to do." And I said, "Well," I said, "if we come into it like cops," I said, and Dr. Unger was there, and he had a scalpel. He's not, his specialty was diabetes, but he was still, he was an MD, and he cut Sid with a scalpel, and we so we cut Sid and we laid him down behind a black box, and then Bill just mounted him. So when we came around the corner, you just saw Bill like you could just see the upper
Mm-hmm.
body of Bill, and you could see Bill striking him. And then the camera came around and exposed, and by that time Sid had been laying there long enough where there was a kind of a little bit of a pool of blood there, and then the people broke it up, and then we went, into the fight, and then they pretty much did what they could to kind of, and it bled the second they got out there, you know, because Bill knew that if he fucking, like hard weighed him too much, it would swell and it wouldn't bleed. So it was kind of a dicey thing. It was a
Mm.
stupid call, and I fucked that up. I thought we could do something we couldn't, but back into the left, back into the
Yeah.
left.
Well, let's wrap it up with our friends here in the house, for God's sakes. Kevin Gilbald. Rewatching Austin's beatdown on Scott Hall in 2002. What were your feelings on it after rewatching it? I got mad. It just made Scott look bad to me.
Was it the one in the back of the pickup truck? Or are you talking about the match at WrestleMania?
I don't know. 2002 would have been WrestleMania. Would that have been?
I didn't like the pickup truck deal where Scott was flat backing in the back of that pickup
That
truck.
maybe that's what he's talking about. Yeah.
They didn't do Scott any favors, that whole fucking, So,
All right, one more. Let's wrap it up with one more. Been on the air 6 hours.
pickup
The pickup.
truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fucking brutal. I tried to post today, and I did, and it fucked up my Instagram. But there's a artist. His name's Brian. Fuck, I can't remember. But he fucked up because he wouldn't wouldn't allow me to post it. But there's a mural of Scott as Razor Ramon down in Miami, and it's large. I mean, it's on the side of a building. So anybody that is a fan of Scott Hall or Razor Ramon, and yeah, there's the picture there
Hmm.
on the side of a building.
The artist wouldn't let you share it?
Well, I don't know, man. I tried to fucking put it on my Instagram, and I tagged him and tagged his fucking Instagram thing, and
Yeah.
so as we used to say, good for you and fuck you.
That was very cornet of you. Well, let me
No,
remind
that's Scott.
Is that?
Yeah.
No, right. Corny's was thank you, fuck you, bye.